Hi, everybody, and welcome to Gambling TV. We're joined today by Rikard Vikstrom, who's the founder at Internet Vikings, a leading provider of hosting services for industries including the iGaming industry. How are you today, Rikard? You okay?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Luke?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you very much. For those of you who've been following SBC coverage of Internet Vikings recently, you might have seen that we've done some articles on both managed brand protection and more recently some of the key hosting solutions that you should be aware of. And what we wanted to do today was build on this topic of hosting and look more specifically at hosting from Malta, which is where Internet Vikings have recently launched a new data center. I'm correct on that?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So I want us to sort of take it back a little bit to basics, if I could, and sort of why it is that you wanted to open the data center in Malta, and also maybe a bit what some of the rules say from the MGA in terms of what you need to do in terms of the hosting, from Malta. If you could just explain that a bit to us.
Absolutely. No, but it's quite interesting how the hosting world have evolved the last 5 years. Because if you look at like 10, 15 years back, you needed to do hosting for iGaming either in Gibraltar or in Malta, in Costa Rica, like these kind of different locations, where it have been going towards toward more a cloud setup. So you don't need to have like your physical servers with stickers on in like these kind of countries. And that's the kind of path that we're going as well, to provide like a cloud setup for our customers worldwide, uh, but then within the different regulations. And if we look at Malta, for example, you need to have a, a physical database replica in Malta. And when you need that, we basically usually set up like our customers' main production environment in Amsterdam or Stockholm for the European market, and then we have a replication back to Malta that is MGA approved, of course, so that then the customer benefits of having things in Malta being regulated on MGA, but they don't need to have all in Malta because problems with DDoS, with bandwidth, and other issues being Malta is an island.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to solve
So has
for our.
this been a long time in the incoming, sort of getting this data center in Malta? Was it for a long time something you've been looking to do, or
Yeah,
has
we've
anything
been looking.
changed that's made this more of a necessity now?
No, but MJ did this change. I think it was 4 years ago that you don't need to have like your production environment in Malta. You can
Yeah,
have it in the like in the Internet Vikings cloud, in the other European hosting providers. Obviously, you shouldn't have it in the US ones due to
yeah.
GDPR, but on the other like European hosting providers, and that because in the end of the day, you as a big iGaming operator, you shouldn't rely on like the fibers to Malta because again, it's an island and
Yeah.
it have been some issues with it for the last 15 years, going up and down and DDoS and so on. And that's
So,
what we are trying to help our customers with.
okay, but getting this data center now, does this open up more clients, more of a possibility for you to get more clients, given that it's MJ licensed and approved and everything else? It widens the net for you.
Absolutely. It widens the net, but it also gives us the possibility to be like a one-stop shop for our
Yeah.
hosting provider, our customers that we're doing hosting for in Amsterdam, for example, for our cloud setup in Amsterdam. Now they can also use us for their application back to Malta. So they don't need like two different providers. I would say that is like one of the biggest benefits for
Uh,
it.
And have you seen a lot of companies sort of making this change from working with multiple companies to
Yeah.
streamlining to just yourselves?
Yeah, actually, we have like for the last couple of weeks, there have been a huge amount of like discussions with current customers. They're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. This is amazing. Please solve it for us," because it's not like it's not a core thing. Who handles the replication backups, the
Yeah.
database server, and the backup back to Malta? It's just something that they just want someone to solve, and we
Yeah.
solve it for them. And then it's easier to have one provider instead of having multiple providers.
Okay. And I've seen obviously a list of the other places where you have data centers. Seems quite strategic to the gambling industry. You've mentioned Stockholm, Amsterdam. I know you have some in Asia as well, but are there other places sort of in the pipeline for that?
It is. It is. We, especially the US, we are looking in to see how we can open up a lot of states during Q2, Q3, to be able to provide like a full solution to our customers, both our cloud hosting in those states, but also um, like co-location and dedicated servers, depending on the regulation per state. Like if you have
Yeah,
New Jersey, it's very different compared to West Virginia and everything in
yeah.
between.
So let's go to the US then. It seems like a logical thing to do. Um, if we could just start again, like I did with Malta, about sort of the basic rules, just to sort of frame this. I know you also probably want to talk about the Screms case as well. Um, could you just give us a bit of a brief sort of oversight on these things?
Yeah. No, but if we start with the housing in the US, as you have the Wire Act,
Yeah,
and there is no talks about having that one getting removed, so you can't do federal gaming or iGaming
yeah,
and gambling. So you can't transfer like data, wallet, money between state lines.
right,
So if there's a player playing in New Jersey, you need to have the servers, in this case, within Atlantic City. If you
okay,
are in Illinois, then you need to have the servers in Illinois to be able to provide uh, gambling services for that player.
yeah,
And that is an issue, obviously, for our customers because they need to have like server setups in every different state. Not like in Europe, where you can have like one server setup for the entire like European Union.
European, yeah,
So in the US, the hosting issues and the cost that could be involved with having hosting is a lot higher. And that's what we're trying to help our customers with. So they don't need to have like pay 20x what they're paying in Europe, in the US, because it's just 20 states. And
yeah,
this is the kind of how we can work together with our customers and actually be a smarter, better provider.
okay.
Because there
So
is some people that are really benefiting from this. That there is not that many people doing this kind of deliveries, but they charge a lot of money for it, and we want to become the provide exactly the same kind of service, same kind of technical setup, but at a much more affordable price and um, a better service.
okay, so just talk to us about the Privacy Shield invalidation. I know you wanted to talk a bit about this. Can you just sort of explain in the simplest terms what that means for iGaming operators?
It's also something that like it was the ruling was in July last year. Max Schrems, the Austrian activist that have been going against Facebook with their privacy many years ago, and now he came with the data protection regarding GDPR, and it basically means that if you have European personal data, you can transfer that into a US entity,
Right.
even though that the server is in Europe. They can be in Ireland, Germany, but there's US employees that are working at Amazon, for example, with these servers. And then you have the National Security Surveillance Act in the US, which can enforce a citizen of the US to hand over that data, even though that the data is not within the physical boundaries of the United States. But it could be in Europe, but still, that employee of Amazon could have a court saying that they must hand
Okay.
over the information. And
Right.
we're seeing a lot of debates about this in Sweden regarding banks, because banks don't want to go and being dependent on, let's say, FBI start an investigation. They don't want FBI to be able to just take all customer data from, say, one of the big Swedish banks. They don't want that. And it's the same risk with a gambling operator, because you don't want your entire customer database to get in the hands of, let's say, like a government agency in the US.
So what it means is that you need to have some sort of presence rather than the data transfer from Europe.
Exactly. It is because look at a US company is bound by US law. Like just exactly like Internet Vikings. We are a Swedish company bound by Swedish law. We are obliged to follow that one. And that is a good thing in Sweden. We don't have a law stating that me as a business owner needs to hand over this information to the police in Sweden just because they feel so, like there is in the US. That's why Sweden, in this case, and many other countries in Europe, it's much safer for the data than China in the Huawei case, US in this case.
So might this mean that, obviously we've talked about your data center in Malta and in various other places, are you working on something similar? Will there be a presence for Internet Vikings in the US as well?
Yes, 100%. And
so can you tell us any more about that?
Yeah, no, but it's not already like carved out exactly how we want to approach it. We have Elena, our head of our US expansion, that handles that for us, and we are looking into how can we really fast track this into going into the US pretty quickly within the next 9 months. So before the end of the year, that we have a big presence in the US to help our customers that want to go in there, because we are having like inquiries every week about what we can help them with in the US.
Okay, and then just, I suppose, a similar sort of question I asked you about Malta as well, about the timing of this. So obviously a few years post PASPA, was this from your side a case of sort of seeing what happened first before, and seeing some of the problems that these companies had, maybe, particularly the European companies going in, before sort of coming in with your solution at the right time?
Exactly. I mean, we have really been waiting to see, okay, when, because they've been, like Kindred have been doing, like scratching the surface of the US for the last, I think it's like 9 years. They had an office in the US, just trying to build it up. And as the Supreme Court ruling of 2018, I don't remember the name of it, but when you actually were able to do much more iGaming within the US, where it allowed the states to open up at a much quicker pace. We started to look at this last year. We should have maybe done it like 6-9 months ago, but due to the corona, we had to postpone it a bit. But now we're doing it in full force, going into the US.
Okay, so if we could just conclude with a final question, if you could just say a few words or sentences on why a company from Europe, let's say, looking to break into the US should approach you and should be looking to use your services.
I would say it's like the same thing as in Europe. Like as a iGaming operator or any other like e-commerce or anyone that's working with having a website on the internet, having a physical server in a data center is not core business. That's something that you should leave up to us or our colleagues in the hosting industry to help, because we will manage that server and we have so much like the momentum of scale and be able to provide more hardware, quicker response times, scale up and down quicker, and of course have a much better finance situation around it, and not be able, you don't need to put like 500K of servers on your balance sheet and pay that up front to someone. We will take that cost and we will hand it up as a cloud service to you, even in the US. So that is, we're talking with one operator that they're like, we don't want to own servers. We are an iGaming operator. We don't want to own servers. That's not our core business. Please solve it for us.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, and the best of luck with entering the US. Sounds like you have it all mapped out, so Six to
Yeah,
nine months. 6 to 9 months. We'll look back and we'll see how it all went. But I'm sure it'll be smooth.